They say that children are the future. And in a world with some of the most iconic superheroes, that future is in some supremely powerful hands. We're counting down the strongest children of superheroes. From sorcerers with incredible potential to mentally unstable reality warpers, these kids have the potential to reshape entire worlds and surpass their parents. Number 10. Danielle Cage. While the live-action versions of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones may not have stayed together, in the comics, they are one of Marvel's foremost power couples. In the current day of the Marvel 616 universe, the two have a daughter named Danielle. Danielle came into the world surrounded by superheroes and has grown up in the company of the Avengers. So it's no surprise in a potential future that Dani becomes a prominent Avenger in her own right. In her time, she took on the name Captain America and clashed with her arch-nemesis, the Golden Skull, a villain inspired by the original Captain America's nemesis, the Red Skull. In the storyline Ultron Forever, Avengers from across time were brought together to face a threat in the far-off future. The villainous Dr. Doom brought Captain America, along with a young Rhodey, aka War Machine, Jane Foster Thor, a newly transformed Hulk, and current-day Black Widow and Vision. Doom claimed he brought these heroes together to stop the evil AI Ultron, but they really were pawns in his plans to take control of Ultron's technology and rule the world. Captain America was integral to overthrowing the Ultron-powered Dr. Doom, thanks to her incredible strength and expertise as a hero. Lately, Dani traveled to the past again to stop a plot by the Golden Skull. Dani proved herself as a leader, rallying a team of Avengers to infiltrate the Golden Skull's headquarters, destroy his army of robots, and return him to their rightful timeline. Powers and abilities. See, my dad was an unbreakable man named Luke Cage, and my mom, Jessica Jones, she was even tougher, and I got their powers. So I don't just throw the shield, I am the shield. Danielle is a force to be reckoned with. Dani had the combined powers of her parents and proved herself to be a capable and strong warrior, worthy of the Captain America title. Like her parents, Dani has super strength. The upper limits are unknown, but if she is as strong as her dad Luke Cage, she is capable of keeping a plane from taking off and easily lifting extremely heavy weights like a bulldozer, or going toe-to-toe with super strong villains like the Rhino. In addition, Dani seems to have inherited her mom's ability to fly, although Jessica hated flying and would get airsick from using her power. She also has bulletproof skin like her father, and even shots from automatic weapons bounce off of her harmlessly. Dani fights using a replica of Captain America's original shield and has been shown using it with great skill. Unlike the original shield, hers is a voice-controlled drone that can fly under its own power. Dani Cage might be bulletproof, but even that can't compare to the impressive potential of some of our later heroes on this list who can bend time itself. But before we get to the rest, be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an upload. And smash that like button for some plot armor today. Number 9. Hyperman. In an alternate future of Kingdom Come, older Superman and Wonder Woman had a son named Jonathan. This is not the only Jonathan Kent on this list, but this version is a whole lot different than the current Superman. After the events of Kingdom Come, their newborn son was stolen only moments after birth by the villainous Gog. Gog was a divinely powered being, obsessed with destroying Superman across all of time. He believed that Superman had arranged the destruction of Kansas during Kingdom Come so that mortals would worship him for saving the world. Gog took Jonathan back to the present-day DC universe, but he was pursued by the older versions of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. With the help of their present-day counterparts, they managed to save the baby. But just as Wonder Woman held her boy, he faded away. Their travels to the past seemed to have changed the future, and their existence was being erased. At the same time, a mysterious figure argued with the Quintessence, a council of powerful immortals, accusing them of being selfish and petty for empowering Gog and putting all of reality at risk. By traveling backwards along the timeline, killing countless versions of Superman, Gog had broken Hypertime. Hypertime is a mysterious zone where all possible futures coexist like mighty rivers. After the heroes defeated Gog, they stepped through the barriers of hypertime and were approached by a mysterious stranger holding Jonathan in his arms. The stranger explained that Jonathan, as the child of Superman and Wonder Woman and godson of Batman, was in effect the child of three uniquely archetypal legends, a living alchemy of imagination and wonder. Because of that heritage, he was the first child ever to be born with power over hypertime. When Wonder Woman asked the stranger who he was, he addressed her as Mother, revealing himself to be the future version of their child. Powers and abilities. Hyperman has potentially incredible power. He is essentially a master of reality. He had the power to control the flow of time itself and transport himself and others to any point in any possible history. His power was active from birth. Even as a newborn, he could instinctively transport himself to hypertime if he sensed he was in danger. This also means he was capable of crossing dimensions, as every branching timeline is a different reality. He also alluded to being capable of orchestrating events in time through avatars, such as the time-traveling Rip Hunter. Hyperman's powers were so vast that even the mightiest immortals and deities, including the wizard Shazam, High Father of the New Gods, and Zeus, were all threatened by his presence, despite their great capabilities. He was clearly an equal to their near-omnipotent power. Now, this son of Superman and Wonder Woman has a much different set of powers than either of his parents. But our next hero is another potential future son of the amazing Amazon with more traditional powers. He's got Wonder Woman's powers, the lasso of truth, the indestructible bracelets, and he was raised by Superman. Hunter Prince is the epic combination of two of the world's greatest heroes. Born from an infection by a dark alien force, Wonder Woman gave up her son Hunter to the Kents to raise out of fear that the darkness might take control. She believed that Superman's influence would keep that potential darkness from ever materializing. But Hunter grew up believing that Wonder Woman abandoned him because he was a male, as was the tradition of the Amazons. Hunter and his friends grew up on a deserted Mount Olympus. The mountain's magic protected them from the devastation of the mysterious darkness that had laid waste to the world, including their parents, the Justice League. The young heroes were desperate to set things right and travel to the past to try to prevent the darkness. But by traveling in time, they had brought the very evil they were trying to stop back with them. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman was hurt by Hunter's revelation that she had abandoned him and wondered if she was responsible for the darkness. This doubt made her vulnerable, and the evil spirit attempted to take her over. Hunter and his teammates arrived, prepared to kill Wonder Woman to save the future. They battled Wonder Woman in a darkness-possessed league, and Hunter proved himself equal to both his mother and his adoptive father. Ultimately, the Justice League and their children were able to defeat the darkness, and Hunter and his friends returned to their time, hopeful that their dark future was averted. Hunter made up with his mother, finally understanding she did what she believed was best for her son. Powers and abilities. Hunter has all of the divinely granted powers of his mother, Wonder Woman, including superhuman strength and speed and the power of flight. He also wears all of her enchanted armor and tools, meaning he can deflect bullets with his gauntlets and can compel anyone to tell the truth with his enchanted lasso. In addition, he is highly skilled in combat, having learned from Superman and other heroes. Hunter is potentially more dangerous than both of his parents. However, because of his anger over being abandoned and the bitterness of seeing his world destroyed, this made him an angry and unpredictable fighter. Hunter was able to fight his mother in her prime, and with powers boosted by the evil parasite known as the Darkness, to a standstill. He even nearly killed Wonder Woman before being convinced not to by his grandmother, Hippolyta. Hunter may have brute force and some magical tools, but even he can't compare to Scarlet Witch's son, who is destined to become a nearly all-powerful demigod. But before we get there, let's look at the potential of the daughter of the Marvel Universe's greatest warrior. Number 7. Sarah Rogers. Captain America and Rogue had a child? Well, they did in an issue of the classic Marvel series, What If? In this story, the original Marvel crossover event, Secret Wars, never ended. After being transported to the planet Battleworld, the heroes and villains never returned home and were forced to start new lives on the alien planet. The combatants called a truce, and many settled down and started families. In this world, Captain America had married the mutant Rogue, although it was actually the personality of Carol Danvers in Rogue's body. Back then, Rogue had absorbed Carol's powers and mind, leaving Carol catatonic and sometimes struggling with Rogue over control of her body. On Battleworld, Rogue was going by the name Carol and was wearing Carol's black Miss Marvel costume in battle. So it makes a little more sense for these two to end up together. Comics, they can get confusing. Unfortunately, the son of Dr. Doom threatened the peaceful retirement these heroes had achieved for themselves. Doom tried to take over Battleworld and return to Earth in order to achieve his father's goals of world domination. Sarah followed in her dad's footsteps and led a new generation of heroes against Doom. Sarah, now going by the codename Crusader, proved her great potential and worthiness by picking up and wielding Mjolnir, along with her father's iconic shield. Together, these young heroes stopped Doom's plan. Later, Crusader used Mjolnir's power to power up a teleportation device to travel across the universe and return home. However, the children were separated from their parents in a new world overrun by evil, mutant-hunting sentinels. Sarah vowed to protect this new world in honor of their parents. As the children of the planet's rightful heroes, it was their duty to bring peace to this planet or die trying. Powers and abilities. Sarah inherited all of Carol Danvers' powers from her mother. This means she can fly at great speeds, is super strong, and extremely durable. She could lift boulders to carry her teammates and throw her father's shield with enough power to knock out a sentinel. Sarah was able to combine her various powers with incredible aim and timing to knock out powerful foes, like the monstrous Gator, son of Spider-Man villain, the Lizard. She proved herself nearly invincible when, after being sent flying for miles out of Doom's castle, she returned without a scratch. But her power and potential really ramped up when she proved herself worthy of lifting Mjolnir, the mighty hammer of Thor. This meant she had all of the powers of the God of Thunder on top of her already formidable strength and cunning. Sarah is a pretty interesting mashup of characters. It's a shame she only appeared in this one obscure story, but our next super child made sure to smash his way onto the scene so nobody would forget him anytime soon. Number 6. Scar, son of Hulk. On the far-off gladiatorial planet Sakaar, a marooned Hulk became a hero and developed a brutal but intelligent personality and fell in love with Kyera, the Old Strong. After an explosion killed Kyera and millions of others, Hulk believed that his unborn son had also perished. He traveled to Earth to exact his revenge on the Illuminati, whom he held responsible. The child survived, thanks to his mother's mystical abilities, the Old Power. Scar emerged months later, and in only a year's time, he had grown to maturity. He became a fierce warrior as he fought to survive on the desolated planet. His reputation grew legendary when he defeated the super-powered warlord Axeman Bone and his lava dragons. Scar also inherited his mother's control of the Old Power, which let him harness the energy of the planet itself. It allowed Scar to control the tectonic structure of the planet and even see its history. Scar traveled to Earth to get revenge on his father for being abandoned. When they finally clashed, Scar grew frustrated when Hulk reverted to his unintelligent, savage form. He wanted to do battle with his true father, the Green Scar version that had ruled his home planet. Scar even managed to get the upper hand against the savage Hulk in the battle when he stabbed Hulk and left him to bleed out. "I'll be back when there's someone in there worth killing," he said. I guess you can say these two had a complicated relationship. Scar seemed to mellow out as he spent more time on Earth. He was briefly a part of Norman Osborn's second team of Dark Avengers, but was actually a double agent for Captain America. He then joined Luke Cage's version of the Thunderbolts, a team of villains attempting to be rehabilitated as heroes. Scar was Cage's enforcer in case any of the Thunderbolts went rogue. Scar continues to be a wild card, never quite a hero or villain, but always ready to throw down and show off his power. Powers and abilities. Scar is a gamma-enhanced alien-humanoid hybrid and is nearly as strong as his father. He has been shown to crack the Juggernaut's armor, overturn tanks, and easily defeat the combined might of She-Hulk and the Thing. Scar's command of the old power allowed him to control a planet's structure, including its earth and lava. When the epic power of Scar's fight with his father caused earthquakes, the seismic shocks nearly destroyed a nearby nuclear power plant. Scar averted a potential nuclear disaster by commanding the stone and lava beneath the ground to seal shut. When asked why he bothered fighting with fists or weapons when he had mystical power, he explained that it was more fun. Scar may have been abandoned by his wayward father, but at least he was never temporarily erased from existence. Our next hero has quite a bizarre history. Number 5. WICCAN. See, I'm the child of a witch and an android. I'm their wish come true, bigger than magic, living information, retro reincarnated in human form. Billy Kaplan is the son of the Scarlet Witch and the android Avenger, the Vision. But his history is somehow even more complicated than just being a robot's child. Starting out as an artificial creation of a grieving mother, he eventually became an Avenger and now rules an intergalactic empire with his husband, Hulkling. Billy was first born when Scarlet Witch used her hex powers to steal a piece of the demon Mephisto's essence to create children. When the demon came to collect the power Scarlet Witch had stolen from him, the twins were absorbed and vanished. The Scarlet Witch later turned to Dr. Doom to channel the life force of the planet itself, which eventually drew her into madness. But her twins had been reincarnated in the bodies of 2 young men who went on to found the Young Avengers. One became WICCAN, and the other Speed. Billy discovered his true origins when his powers began to grow out of control. The older Avengers held him under observation out of fear that they might end up with another Scarlet Witch. But his teammates set him free, and they sought out the Scarlet Witch. They believed that if Billy had so much potential, then he must be related to her. And it was too much of a coincidence that Speed's powers and white hair were identical to her brother Quicksilver. They eventually discovered an amnesiac Wanda and explained their theory to her, which temporarily overwhelmed her. As her powers raged, Billy confronted her, and she recognized the truth of who Billy was. Along the way, Billy fell in love with and married the half-Kree, half-Skrull Hulkling. This was when Hulkling was recruited to formalize a peace treaty between the 2 alien empires. Now, he rules over the empire, with Hulkling as prince consort and court wizard. Power and abilities. The extent of Billy's magic is unknown, but the Asgardian god Loki has seen that Billy is destined to become the all-powerful being, the demiurge who seeded life on Earth. Billy was once able to tap into that potential and could reshape reality, rewrite the rules of magic, and see the past, present, and future. Even Billy's standard powers are formidable. He can manipulate magical energies, which allows him to alter and warp reality. Billy channels his power by focusing on a specific outcome and repeating it verbally. He used his power to project energy blasts, teleport, create force fields, and heal injured teammates. WICCAN is poised to one day replace Doctor Strange as Sorcerer Supreme. Strange recognized his potential from a young age and considered passing on the title to him. WICCAN has appeared as the Sorcerer Supreme in several potential futures. We've got more twins that were temporarily erased from history to talk about next, but these 2 are more of a package deal and make up our number 4. Number 4. Jai and Iris West. Jai and Iris are the children of the 3rd Flash, Wally West and his wife, Linda Park. They briefly disappeared after the events of the reality-altering event Flashpoint. But after years of searching, Wally has finally reunited his family. But these twins almost didn't exist at all. When Linda was pregnant, an attack from Flash arch-nemesis Zoom resulted in Linda having a miscarriage. But during a later battle with Zoom, Wally changed the past, and the twins were born happy and healthy. Jai and Iris first begin to display superpowers by aging rapidly. Alien technology helped to slow them down, but both twins were still growing too quickly. Wally was worried the twins might not get to live a full life, and he trained them to use their developing powers. Although both were living conduits for the Speed Force, their powers were unstable and presented differently than their father. Jai was able to vibrate his molecules and infuse them with Speed Force energy to expand his muscles and gain super strength. As a child, Iris used the Speed Force to vibrate herself and anything she touched, enabling her to phase through matter. As Iris aged more rapidly, she developed a full array of speed powers. When the the evil Reverse Flash began corrupting the Speed Force, Jai and Iris suffered from immense pain because of their unstable connection to the power. Iris absorbed Jai's abilities, freeing him from the suffering, but making hers worse. Iris eventually managed to cure her connection and became a full-fledged speedster. Iris recently returned Jai's connection to the Speed Force and gave him back his powers, which have since stabilized. Now, the twins are ready to explore what they can do when their full powers are combined. Powers and abilities. Iris might be destined to be the most powerful speedster to ever live. Iris has shown a natural mastery of the Speed Force. She has exhibited talents no other speedsters have ever accomplished, including forming Speed Force bubbles in which she could control speed and time, freezing her targets or rapidly increasing their age to the point of death. She can also manipulate the energy of other speedsters, helping to repair her father's Speed Force connection and absorbing and returning her brother's power. Jai's physical strength lets him bend steel and go toe-to-toe with other super strong characters and send them flying with a single punch. In addition to his strength, Jai has the ability to sense when his loved ones connected to the Speed Force are in danger. With his sister's help, the two can teleport themselves and others across dimensions to wherever their dad is. Jai might be a little powerhouse, but his strength is no match for the man of tomorrow, the new Superman. Number 3. Superman. No, not that Superman. This is the son of Kal-El, the current star of the Superman series. While we have talked about one potential alternate version of Jonathan Kent, this one is from the main continuity and has already proven himself a worthy heir to the name in his own right. According to Batman, as a hybrid of a Kryptonian and an Earthling, John might have the potential to surpass his father, kind of like Gohan and other human Saiyan hybrids in Dragon Ball. John has dedicated himself to being a Superman that doesn't just react to threats, but works to undo the causes of injustice in the name of truth, justice, and a better world. He has a desire to save as many people as he possibly can and is often overwhelmed by the pressure to live up to his father's legacy. John grew up on the Kent farm but traveled into space when his grandfather Jor-El offered to show him the galaxy. Superman reluctantly let him go, even though he did not trust his newly revealed to be alive father. During their adventure, John was lost in an alternate universe where he suffered years of torment at the hands of an evil version of his dad. He eventually escaped and returned to Earth. Although it had been 5 years for him, only weeks had passed at home. When his dad left Earth to liberate the slave planet Warworld, John took on the name Superman and stepped in to fill the gap left by his dad's absence. Powers and abilities. John has all the same powers as his father, Clark Kent. However, despite his age, he appears to be at the same level as his dad, and Batman believes that as he gets older, John will outclass the original Superman. His potential strength was truly on display. When in a battle with a supervillain, he was supercharged with solar radiation. This sent his abilities into overdrive. From Metropolis, he could hear a girl was lost in Costa Rica. His vision was so great that he could see crimes in Africa. In a matter of minutes, he had saved people in a flood in Luxembourg, rescued the lost Costa Rican girl, and rescued journalists in the African nation of Zambezi. The speed at which John traveled the world and saved so many surpasses anything present-day Superman has been portrayed doing, giving a glimpse into just what John is capable of. Perhaps John's greatest strength is his power to be true to himself and forge a new legacy for his father's name. John fights to root out injustice and boldly stands true to his identity as a bisexual man, even leading a pride parade. But even the strongest physical powerhouse in the DCU is no match for the control over creation of our final 2 child stars. Number 2. Franklin Richards. Franklin is the son of Reed Richards and Susan Storm, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, originally intended as a mutant. Franklin's incredible powers have been apparent since he was a baby. It was believed for years that he was an Omega-level mutant with complete control over reality. A recent story revealed that he was not really a mutant, but we'll see how long that lasts. Comics are always changing, and this particular change is pretty controversial. Franklin's vast powers were apparent from birth and required Mr. Fantastic to temporarily shut down his son's mind for the planet's safety. Franklin's abilities often made him a target for villainous schemes, most notably for the dark psychic mutant Onslaught. This manifestation of the psychic energy of Professor X's darkest thoughts and Magneto's villainy tore through the combined forces of all the Marvel superheroes. In the end, it appeared that the Avengers and Fantastic Four had died. Franklin had actually used his powers to shuttle them into a pocket dimension where their histories had been altered. The universe was contained in a glowing blue ball that Franklin carried with him. A future version of Franklin would go on to train his young counterpart in preparation for an attack by rogue Celestials from Earth 4280. The immortal Celestials were impressed by young Franklin's power, classifying him as above Omega, and noted him to be a threat to them. An impressive reputation to build for a child. When they attempted to eliminate him with an energy blast, he deflected the beams by turning the energy into flowers without expending any effort. The future Franklin arrived, and after absorbing his younger self's power, he used that power to bring about one of the coolest moments in Marvel history.
To me, my Galactus!
With only 4 words, he brought a deceased Galactus back to life. With Galactus at his command, Franklin defeated the Celestials, cementing his legacy as a supreme power in the cosmos. Powers and abilities. Franklin has limitless potential to manipulate reality and was one of the most powerful beings in the universe even as a child. Anything he imagines can come true. He can manipulate matter, shoot energy blasts, and even travel through time. He also commands immense psychic power that has allowed him to read the minds of others and move objects with his mind. But his greatest feats have been the creation of universes. In addition to creating the pocket dimension to save the heroes from Onslaught, he combined his power to alter reality with the Molecule Mans to repopulate the entire multiverse after the events of Secret Wars. Franklin is also immortal and will stand at the end of time with Galactus to witness the birth of a new universe, potentially becoming the Galactus of the next cosmos. What happens when these kinds of Omega-level powers are at the mercy of someone a little less stable? Well, that's where our number 1 comes in. Number 1. David Haller, Legion. Legion is David Haller, the son of Professor X. Legion possesses immense psychic power and reality-warping abilities. Unfortunately, this power is inherently unstable due to Legion's mental illness. David suffers from a severe form of dissociative identity disorder, with multiple personalities competing with one another for control. Professor X was unaware of David's birth, and the young boy grew up with his mother and stepfather until David's stepfather was murdered by terrorists. David's powers manifested in that moment to fry the terrorists' minds. Being mentally connected to so much death left David catatonic for years, and the mental trauma resulted in a severe psychotic break. Legion has taken on hundreds of personalities, each displaying different powers. David himself has said his mind contains more than 200 Omega-level personalities. David has often tried to use his power for good, but his fractured psyche makes it difficult. Once, to try and ensure his father's dream of peace between humans and mutants, he traveled through time to kill Magneto. Instead, Xavier sacrificed himself to save Magneto, creating the alternate timeline Age of Apocalypse. In an attempt to control his many alternate personalities, David inadvertently began to draw in all the mutants on Earth into himself. This created a dangerous monstrosity that would soon bring about the planet's destruction. The compassion of his beloved companion Ruth inspired him to come to terms with his life struggles. His mind coalesced into a single remaining persona called the Weaver. Now whole, David tapped into his unlimited powers to undo his misdeeds and temporarily wrote himself out of reality. Power and abilities. Legion is an Omega-level mutant with the power to control space and time. However, his mental illness means he cannot tap into that full potential all at once. Each of his divergent personalities presents reality under his control in different limited forms. One of his early prominent personalities, the arrogant Jack Wayne, possessed telekinesis. Another of his personalities, a young woman named Cindy, had pyrokinesis, the ability to control fire. Another primary personality could control reality and travel through time and change the future. He was also able to kill and disintegrate the immortal elder gods of the hell dimension Limbo through sheer force of will. In his most whole state, Legion briefly realized his true potential, saying that it was no effort to restore the dead or undo the carnage he had brought about. As he pondered where to set things right, he knew that he could completely realign things to whatever he wanted. Instead, he chose to remove himself from the timeline, so only the results of his misdeeds would be undone. Even without full control of his mental facilities, David Haller is incredibly powerful, made even more dangerous by his unpredictable nature. That lack of control makes him potentially the most dangerous being alive. What say you, Plot Armor fans? Any powerful super kids we missed? Let us know in the comments. Till next time, stay tuned to Plot Armor Comics for more countdowns on the most exciting aspects in comic history. I'm Anthony Fan, and thanks for listening.